I'm nearing the end of my research, and this lovely sweater I'll never be able to wear again. It's itching like crazy. I'll have to give it away, I guess. I have to give away most of my clothes anyway. I'll never be able to dance again. And I made the earrings, and I have $150 store glasses that match my clothes, and I painted my little hats with outdoor sparkle paint because it's waterproof. And I want to make this video about bugs. I mean, some of it's not funny. Bird beetles have decimated the ladybug. They look like a ladybug, but they're not. They're orange, and the ladybug is red. And the ladybug would crawl on you, and she would sit on my finger, and, you know, they were lovely, and they wouldn't bite you. But these friggin' damn bird beetles that our farmers imported from Asia to eat aphids, yeah, like, couldn't we have produced our own ladybugs to do that? No, let's import some friggin' damn bug that bites and puts a toxin into your blood and poisons you. That's how dumb we are. Anyway, that was in 2001. And back in 1987, Mr. Mack started to teach me. He was a biochemist with shoppers and a number of other sciences, but in particular, Mr. Mack, teaching me about bugs and on our skin, the microscopic bugs that eat our skin and that wind up with all this skin all over the floor. And the dust mites. And it's their poop that infect you and cause infection if you have a low immune system, which I do. And when he first started to train me and teach me, we were trying to find a way for me to breathe. I was in the bubble gas mask, and I had to live in it, sleep in it. And I was working to find a way to break out of the bubble and live in your world without killing myself. And I took a lot of risks, and I took a lot of attacks, but I did it for the children because I see in the visions that children will be born like me. So there's kind of a funny story because I'm an extremely creative personality, and even though I'd lost my memory, I was trying to relearn to write. What came out, I couldn't make a full sentence. I could talk like I'm talking after working hard. This is long before I got okra, okay? Okra didn't happen until 1995. But I had a heck of a time. I couldn't sleep. And I went to Mr. Mack crying. And he said, what's the matter, Trudy? What's wrong? And I said, oh my God. I said, I can't sleep. I see the bed bugs, and I see the little skin scavenger bugs, and I see the dust mites, and I see them everywhere, and I see the mold spores. And I said, that microscopic world is so visual to me, I just can't sleep. I can't eat. I can't do anything. And he said, now we have to learn the difference. He says, there's the good bugs, and that's the kefir and the yogurt and the acidophilus, and the good bugs that and like apple cider vinegar kills germs and so on and so forth. And he said, those are the good bugs. And you got to learn to make friends with the good bugs because they protect you and they help keep you alive. And then there's the numbnod in-between bugs. He said, now in your case, we're not sure. He said, some of those in-between bugs are probably very damaging to you, such as the cold virus. He said, that doesn't hurt most people. But he said, you get a cold virus, and he said, you wind up in infection, and it spread on you so fast that it's no longer an in-between bug, it's a bad bug. And then there's the really bad guys. They're the dead ones. They're the bad ones. And they're out to kill you. Now that was in 1987. And he said, now you got to make friends with those bugs. that are in your bedroom. And he said, they're not trying to kill you. He said, those dust mites, they're doing a little job. But he said, you just have to make friends with them. So I wrote a silly little thing that everybody loved and I shared, and I'm going to share that with you now. And I couldn't write my story, and I couldn't write the research. I had to get other people to do it for me, so I did solicit the help of media and journalists, and they wrote articles for me on the research that I was doing, and that helped me get gas mask equipment. And MSA kept sending me equipment and filters to try and see which ones were better, and helped to get better equipment. For frankly, pretty much what you see today, it's thanks to me. And MSA in Pittsburgh, they were very cooperative. So this one is called Dust Mites. Often she sees the creatures stir. She sees them on the food she eats. She watches a child choking on mucus drinking milk. A parent yells, blaming a child for drinking too fast. She sees and feels their endless pain yet to come. She knows what drives men mad and all that makes young girls glad. Addicts drowning in toxic waste. Kaboom! It's you who will explode. Doctors not hung for their crimes. Hallucinatory, paranoid mental anguish. They treat with shock and deadly drugs. Then victims grateful for welfare, and taxpayers who don't care. Her brain sees future images, demonic but real. In disgrace she can no longer feel. Beware dust mite creatures with their long, skinny legs and pointed beaks. It's them, poop, that makes you reek. Maggots crawling on rotting meat. Killer mold spores from dripping water. Kitchens and bathrooms, human death traps. Bacteria that suffocate health and kill brains. Brains, if not born poisoned and damaged by the age of 10, eating chemicals out of control, no longer giving life to the good bugs, who alone can destroy the bad bugs. We are the nimnod in-between creatures, some not so bad, but hardly good. Some left alone may be harmless, but earthly war has begotten insanity, for within her body and all around her the war is reality. The difference for her is that in just one day, she is a fighting warrior who knew how to kill, destroy only the evil, and let the good ones win. Biochemistry strategically controls all her battles. And what of the bedbug scavengers? Disgusting, grotesque creatures were the toughest of all. Now they clean off her dead skin, cleansing her body. New life creates fresh, young skin, soft as silk. It's a body she loves to caress. For when she went to bed covered in sores and washed in yogurt and sour cream, she turned the enemy into her best friends. Each night in bed she lays naked. Friendly creatures stirring, crawling, chomping, chewing, devouring the killers on her flesh. All night long their voracious hunger is insatiable. Quietly she sleeps. Having learned to love herself and them, she knows she is no longer sleeping alone. I wrote a lot of stuff like that, and I was semi-catatonic, very little memory, and that's the only way I could write. And to tell you the truth, after spending 22 years to be able to write in proper sentence and grammar in English, I can't write like that anymore. Interesting, isn't it? But it's kind of cute. Yes. Make friends with those friendly, good bugs. those lovely skin scavengers. And despite COVID isolation,